Nintendo has created a whole conglomerate of games, a bunch of different series, a bunch of different genres, and a bunch of unique stories, characters, and worlds. A lot of what Nintendo has created made the childhood of a lot of young adults like me, and even the millennials, a lot more fun. The Mario series, the Zelda series, the Kirby series, Metro series, Pikmin series, Pokemon series. Okay, yes, they have made a lot of good series with good and bad games, but one series has been left on the shelves on Nintendo for quite some time now, and I am extremely confused on why. This series had their first game released in 1986. Since it is such an old series, there has to be more games, right? Yeah, but only one other game in 2012, with no games in between, and no games being announced for the future. The crazy part about this is that these characters are still a part of major games like Super Smash Bros, and the attacks that they have in those games are even referencing this game that you have probably never played. Or maybe you have and also realize that why the hell have they not made another game like this? Alright, the intro is getting pretty long now. The game I want to bring in light is Kid Icarus Uprising, a 3DS game released in 2012. This is the game series where Pit is from, Palutena, Dark Pit, and many other trophy characters from the items in Super Smash Bros. If you never played Kid Icarus Uprising, I would highly recommend playing it if you don't really want to get spoiled about it. Though the game, in my opinion, would be best played on the 3DS, which can be hard to get now. When I was getting footage for this video and playing the game over to collect some more info and data, I definitely didn't illegally download the game and use an emulator to play it on my PC. No, that would be illegal. But if you do that, it isn't the best experience. Since the 3DS has a joystick, there were some things that the game had that use its feature, like allowing you to sprint if you flick the joystick, which isn't really possible for a keyboard, and there are some sections that require you to platform in a sense, and you will struggle on them. It can also be kind of hard to get used to using the mouse for aiming, and okay, Jesus, I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. What kind of game is Kid Icarus Uprising? Also, by the way, if you do want to watch a full playthrough, I have a full VOD of the streams on my VOD channel if you want to check those out. Kid Icarus Uprising is a chapter-based game where each chapter consists of you as Pit, having an airborne rail shooter segment, basically a segment with a predetermined path where you shoot enemies and dodge, and a ground-based third-person shooter segment, usually ending with a boss fight after each chapter. Simply, beat every chapter and defeat the main villain to beat the game. I ain't gonna spoil everything about the story of this game, but for the most part, it is really good. There are a bunch of interesting characters that you meet with amazing voice acting, by the way.
What's the mirror of truth?
A bunch of different arcs with those characters with some very funny dialogue moments.
Get ready, 'cause it's time for... It was my turn now, last word. Let's not argue in front of the
And a long, overarching story with many plot points. By the way, did I mention this is a 3DS game? I just want to drill this into your mind because I will be saying this a lot because it's kind of crazy that this is a 3DS game. But anyways, if you aren't interested in the stories and characters, the gameplay systems of this game are amazing. The gameplay loop of shooting enemies in the air and then on the ground will get stale. So why not spice it up with 9 different weapon classes that are equal to 108 weapons that all are unique in design, shooting, range, power levels, and you could even fuse these weapons together to create new ones that you might have not had yet. 3DS game, by the way. Like, 3DS in 2012. Yeah, we are not done talking about the weapons though. For the two styles of combat in the game, air and ground, the weapons have different attacks. First, we have normal and charge attacks. Normal attacks are thrown out just by holding the fire button and do the most consistent but least amount of damage. Charge attacks charge up after a few seconds of not attacking, doing a big amount of damage to anything in its path. Those are the two different attacks for air, but the ground has way more. The normal and charge attacks still exist, but now dashing in a direction will change the attack into a charge dash attack or a normal dash attack, with each direction also change the attack on some weapons. The weapons aren't alone in the in-depth and crazy game design this game has. We also have special powers. This grid is kind of like your money for what powers you can buy. Each power costs a certain amount of tiles with different shapes, being better the more tiles it costs. There are over 62 different types of powers, with levels ranging from 1 through 4. By the way, this game also had a multiplayer mode where it was a 3v3 team deathmatch against other players, which was actually super fun when I was a kid. I wish I could show you more, but I can only get footage from other videos, as obviously the servers are not running anymore. Moving on from that, this one game design I heavily appreciate, and I believe that more games need to consider doing. Before beginning each chapter, you can select the intensity on how hard the level will be, 3.0 as a standard, and you can use hearts, the currency of the game, to make it easier or harder. The game also rewards you for playing the game harder by giving more hearts for defeating enemies, and also allowing you to pass through certain areas behind intensity gates that gives you more rewards and also harder challenges. So no matter your skill level, you can still enjoy a nice challenge, and if you just want to relax and play more casually, you can always have that option. You have probably been watching me play this game for a while already, and I hope you have been noticing the graphical beauty of it. There are 25 chapters in the game, with all unique areas for each, with some pretty graphically intense moments that I am surprised, yet again, that this is a 3DS game. Like, what the hell is going on? The file size of this game, by the way, is 1.5 gigabytes, which is kind of insane to hear, but makes a lot more sense when you look into all of the in-depth polish of this game. Not to mention the orchestral track for this game. Yes, an orchestral track for a 3DS game. Okay, I need to calm down. Like, this is okay. Like, just calm down. But the music of this game is fantastic. First time meeting Dart Pick makes you want to salsa like you've never salsa'd before. The boss fight theme is action-packed with the introduction of some electrical guitars mixed in with orchestra. Like, you can't tell me you don't want to move like this when you hear this theme. Each and every level has a fantastic new track of just in-depth musical talent. It makes me appreciate it 10 times more. If you have watched this channel before, you should know I ramble about a lot of things, and one topic I always love rambling about is that video games is art. Every single aspect of this game is filled with passion. The music, the sound design, the game design, the graphics, the dialogue, the story, everything about this game is art. And it's a fucking 3DS game made in 2012. This all makes me loop back to the start of this video. Why haven't they made another Kid Icarus game? I have seen the capabilities of new consoles, and the gameplay of Icarus can easily be transformed to play on them. The one big issue for making another Kid Icarus is that the development team disbanded after creating it. It was a one-off project, but goddamn was it a good one. The main concern is replicating the unique control scheme, which honestly I find bullshit, because as a game developer myself, even though I haven't developed the game for a while, you can definitely do it. There are way more complicated control schemes and game designs that are immensely more difficult to replicate. I see the remastered version of Metroid Prime that has a similar style of gameplay, and they were able to do that apparently. I honestly just believe it isn't a priority for Nintendo. Even though the game sold over 1 million copies worldwide, it was still the 28th most sold game on the Nintendo 3DS. 27 more games, more popular than it, and a big incentive to make more sequels for. But for a series that hasn't had a game for over 20 years to sell over 1 million copies, should be a sign that people are actually interested in this game. It was something different, unique, and bringing back these characters that we haven't seen since 1986 is crazy. Also, the creation of new characters that are still part of other games like Super Smash Bros. This video is not only to tell more people about this amazing game, but also a reminder that Nintendo has a series that they are holding back, and I honestly believe it would be in their best interest to revive it once more. Nintendo has done a lot of good, but they always remind me that they aren't all that good sometimes. Please, for the love of God, Nintendo, make good Pokemon games again. Thanks for watching.